Hello tanks and tankettes, welcome to Supporter Spotlight number 5, and we're kicking off with a bit of high octane Cromwell action courtesy of Jotti. He's actually platooned up with another Cromwell, Totoland 71, and there's actually a third Cromwell on their team, a Cromwell B, who is obviously not platooned up with them, but he's going to be going with them on this flank, and as you're going to see, they ain't breaking for nobody. Now, there are a great many times in World of Tanks when you want to stop and consider and look at the minimap and, you know, get some intel, get a feel for what the enemy team's doing. And then there are times when you just decide to be totally silly and just put your pedal to the metal and go hell for leather. I'm trying to... What more metaphors can we use here? What more... metaphors, phrases, whatever. Idioms. Idioms, there we go, that's the word. Wow, I'm a total idiom. It's late, whatever. So, yeah, he just piles in. He doesn't care. I suspect this was at the end of an evening, or maybe at the start of an evening, I don't know, but just they had decided clearly that they just were not gonna play sensibly. They were just gonna see what happened, and the vast majority of the time, it ends badly, and it ends badly very quickly, but he's getting away with it. The SU-152 missed him. That T-67 is, well, he's in a very odd position, but of the 3 shots he fires, only 1 actually hits Jotti, and it goes in the tracks. The SU-152 also could have been very, very nasty, considering Jotti lost half his health to the Panther, but anyway, he gets enough leeway, despite the fact that there is a derp Sherman camping near the enemy base, to loop back round, come behind this KV-1 and finish him off. So for the cost of 1 Cromwell, and a bunch of their health as well, they've actually taken out 3 enemy tanks, and they're about to take out a 4th. Although it probably is a good thing that the T-34-1 has now finally moved up here, because they don't have a lot of hit points between them. So they're just working over the SU, and there we go, another kill for Jotti. He's accrued 1700 damage already, by the way. It's not bad, but at this point he makes a bit of a gaffe. Now, he's been auto-aiming up till this point, because that's what you do when you're racing around and being silly and not stopping to aim, because if you're stopping to aim, then that kind of defeats the point. But for whatever reason, even though he was actually stationary and tracked, he did not go into sniper view and start shooting at the Sherman. So that's a little bit of damage left on the table there, but his teammates, his platoon mates are dead, his teammates are working this guy over, and he's dead. So there we go. Sherman's down. This flank has gone swimmingly. I mean, it was a hell of a high-risk maneuver, but it worked. For the loss of 1 tank, they've taken down 7 enemy tanks. The Cromwell, him in the Cromwell B, I've got 3 apiece. The T-34-1 has killed that Sherman, and the Stuart Emile, which is technically on this side of the map, has also killed somebody, although I suspect that was that was the T-30, no, that's actually a second kill, the T-37. I suspect his first kill was on the mid-ridge as well, so all the kills have been happening on this side of the map. On the town side, well, it was literally just the Tiger P that actually killed something, and everybody else got kind of wrecked. So Jotti decides that, what the hell, his luck's held so far. Circle strafes the T-29, but this is very bad terrain to do it on, because flat terrain, this would be fine, but for at least part of the time on slope terrain, you're driving uphill. So, almost, but not quite. If he'd had some higher RNG rolls there, maybe, but anyway. He also got super lucky with that shot. Look at that. I decided I had to put in a slow-mo of that, because that was ridiculous. Should have been dead right there, but got away with it. Just. Anyway, we skipped ahead because after all that high octane action, everything really slowed down. Now this KV-2 is about to die. That's a nice shot from the S-35 that sets the guy on fire. And he's now a really easy one-shot. He must have been tracked as well because he was stationary. So there we go. Nice shot from the S-35. He's actually going to be second on the team. Not because he's done a lot of damage, but because he's been doing it against higher tiers. And the S-35 is pretty nice for that. So it's down to one enemy tank, an IS. We know exactly where he is. The Sturdy Emil is moving up. We've got artillery support. This S-35 is in a good position to also give support. And the T-34-1, crucially, can afford to take at least 2 hits. Or can he? Maybe I'm just not being able to do numbers in my head very well. At least 1 hit. I'm going to play it safe. At least 1 hit. Possibly 2 if RNG is favourable. In fact, yeah, no, it will be 2 if RNG is favourable. If it was 2 high rolls from the IS's gun, then you could potentially kill him from his current health with 2 shots. But anyway, never mind. This IS basically knows he's alone, he's outmatched, there's artillery against him, so like 1 or 2 shots from the Hummel will do the job. And yeah, the T-34-1 could try his luck. He could plow in. He could cross his fingers that the IS misses his shots. He could count on having a better reload. But bear in mind that although I think he's got his top gun, it's 100mm with 250 average damage, it's probably going to be a close run thing. It's a bit chancy. So this is a kind of situation where you want to use your advantages. The advantages are superior numbers and artillery support. And as far as that goes, artillery is not doing a particularly great job of hitting this guy, but with all the RNG involved with artillery, it isn't necessarily anything to do with the artillery player. He might just be being horrendously unlucky with his shots. So we don't know. You can never tell with Arty. The RNG is so bad with Arty that it is possible. However, the S-35 indicates in the chat that he's actually going to do a really... like, I cannot praise this guy enough for what he's about to do. He is going to take the hit. They outnumber this guy. That's one of their advantages. And if you're playing with a platoon, you can coordinate this kind of thing. But this guy goes in. He knows the IS is distracted. He is in turn going to provide a distraction. And luckily, he doesn't die. He actually takes the shot in the tracks. So he actually gets a couple of shots in. And the T-34-1 walks away with the last kill. So that was an ace tanker in about 4 minutes. With a high caliber, again, in about 4 minutes. And you'll see exactly how long that match lasted. And yet, all that high octane frenetic action at the beginning, all of that was enough to, in that short space of time, put Jotti well at the head of the team. The S-35, as I said, I think he was second place because he was damaging higher tiers. 1400 damage, just under. It's not bad, but I cannot praise that guy enough for what he did at the end there. That is absolutely, people should be doing that in random battles. If you've got that kind of situation where you've got the numbers, don't hesitate. If somebody can afford to take the hit, then take the hit. Or if somebody decides that they have to sacrifice their tank in order to... well, if that kind of scenario where it's the last enemy tank left alive, then yes, absolutely, don't be shy. That will win the game. So yes, big shout out to that guy. And it was just all round an entertaining match. But yeah, it wasn't a sensible match by any means. Next up is an artillery replay, and before you reach for that close browser window button, bear with me. Just you know, trust me. There's a reason I'm showing this. In fact, there are several reasons. One of them is that you don't see this thing very often. It's the Lefebvre, the Tier 5 French Premium Arty. It's the only Premium Arty in the game, and that's probably a good thing. It's pretty fast firing. It doesn't do a lot of damage. It's actually a lot like the British Bishop in that way. It's a 105mm gun, and if one of these things has you pinned down, much as if a Bishop or a Burt have you pinned down, well, if a Bishop has you pinned down, that really does depend on the context, doesn't it? Wow, there's so many things could be said there. But never mind. It's bad if you get permatracked by one of these things. Another reason I'm showing this is it's my first 9.9 replay that I'm actually showing, and I'm actually able to record on the same graphics settings that I play on. Previously, I needed to lower the graphics settings for recording, because obviously you've got the recording software going at the same time as the game. But the FPS improvement in 9.9 has been good enough that, in theory, I could even record on the same graphics settings, i.e. maximum graphic settings. I keep saying graphic settings a lot, but hey, I'm talking about graphic settings, so you know. That I have for taking my still screenshots, and that's all down to the fact that I'm not doing that. That's all down to the fact that I'm having to use OBS to record this, because 9.9 replays have, in common with World of Warships replays, the nasty habit of just closing when the replay finishes. And Bandicam freaks the hell out when that happens, so OBS. And it's working, so that probably means I'll be able to use OBS for recording World of Warships as well. Anyway, that is his only actual artillery replay. And we're going to jump ahead a little bit now, and this is where it gets better, I promise. So most of both teams even have died, and they have one enemy tank left and 3 RT, and we've got Connordinho here and this other artillery player in the M41. Now, one thing to know also about this is because it's on the chassis, the hull of the B1, it's actually got pretty good hull armor, and that's going to come in handy. Now, the 38T on the enemy team actually has the best score of of either team, and he's done a really good job. This is a good map for a 38T, but unfortunately he just took an HE shell to the face, so that's his game done. You might be thinking that's a very low caliber shot. In fact, that looks like an AP shot that just landed. And it very quickly another one landed after it. Well, the Su-26 can fire AP, and it probably is the Su-26 because it's an even more of a pop gun than this thing. I think it gets a, is it a 76mm HE gun? The Su-26 used to be grossly overpowered. Even I had one, and it was just ridiculous. It really was. It had a turret, it had a very good artillery gun for its tier, and you could carry games in that thing. Anyway, back to the game at hand. 3 RTs versus 1, and this M41 fancies his chances ramming what is essentially a heavy tank hull. Does a bunch of damage in the process, and I think Connordinho actually takes a hit from the Su-26 as he's tracked. So he hastily repairs, turns to face this AMX 105 that's just appeared. Isn't able, despite hitting him, to actually one-shot him, so he's going to have to... There we go, another kill on the move, because why not? And also bounces at the same time an Su-26 shell, who... that guy's just firing nothing but AP this entire time. And if one of them pens, then okay, it's good night Vienna for Connordinho, but I'm sure HE would have maybe been a little bit more effective, maybe. So at this point, it's 1 versus 1, and he's got one big advantage, despite his low health. He's almost certainly going to have a better view range. In fact, I don't even know offhand what the view ranges of either of these are, but I know for a fact that the Lafayette will have a better view range than the Su-26. The Su-26 driver possibly doesn't even have 100% crew. He's at tier 3. Who has 100% crew at tier 3 when they're not throwing, you know, money or actual money at the game to spend gold on crews or maybe train them up in premiums? Possibly he does, but it's unlikely. And even if he does, the view range on the Su-26 is going to be pretty restricted compared to this thing. Because remember, this is a 9.9 replay. This is not from back in the day. This is after view range nerfs on tank destroyers and all kinds of changes to the game. But this is a premium tank, so it is much less likely to get touched than non-premium tanks. So, yeah. If he can spot the guy, then he's probably fine. If the guy is sitting in a bush waiting for him to roll up, then it's probably not going to be so fine. Although RNGesus might intercede and save the day, you never know. But our intrepid little Su-26 driver has decided, screw sitting in a bush, I'm gonna cap. Sitting around doing nothing is boring, in which case, if you really feel like that, you probably should be playing artillery. But anyway, Connordinho takes another shot on the move, and hey, it worked with our AMX 105, but the Su-26 is actually driving laterally in front of him. However, once he's able to sit and stop and let the aim circle close a bit, no problem. Carries the day. I mean, it was all skill, right, Connor? It wasn't silly, derpy, RNG filled whatever at all. However, it did get him a Stark's medal, and you don't see that very often. Basically, you have to take a bunch of damage and survive, having done, I think, what, 1 or 2 kills? He also had the ribbon, and I can't remember the name of it, but you basically, if you kill all the enemy team's artillery over a certain number, I think it's 3, and because he killed all 3 enemy arty, you also get that award. So that was pretty silly, and I hope you didn't... Artillery replays always evoke a rather, shall we say, mixed response, but I hope there was enough there that you felt it was justified, shall we say. You're unlikely to ever see a regular arty replay, especially in this series. It's always more likely to be people derping each other face to face in artillery, because that can be entertaining. It's just that also doesn't happen very often. It's more usually the very boring standard arty gameplay, which makes for incredibly poor viewing. Anyway, the next replay, much better viewing, I promise. So we join Jotti again. Wow, am I just playing favourites here? Well, not really. There is a point to this replay, much like there was a kind of a point to the last replay. This one is not really about Jotti. Okay, we're starting off with Jotti, and it was a game which Jotti was in, and he sent it to me and said, you have to watch this replay. But it's not really about Jotti, and he actually said, you know, it's about this other player. And we're going to see this other player right now. This is Omri2 on our right in a TOG 2. Now, this is a 9.8 replay. I suspect this was during the TOG rental event, where basically you complete a certain mission, you get a TOG to play with it for a couple of days. And that was very lucky. That was Omri almost team killing Jotti, but luckily it only damaged his track. But basically, and that's kill number 5 for Mr. Omri over there. Basically, Jotti's team hasn't done very well. In fact, Omri's the only one that has been doing well. And Jotti's just been constantly having to use his mobility and get around and just run away and relocate the whole time. Now this is a very important shot because the enemy team was about to win by cap. And maybe they figured it's fine. It's a TOG 2 and an ELC. They'll surely never decap. Well, bit of a mistake thinking an ELC is not going to get back to decap in time. A TOG, okay, fine. But Jotti has bought some very important time for that TOG to get into position. Now the TOG killed the T-3485, Top Gun, has reset another tank, and now there's a TOG and an A-20 in the cap, and a VK last spotted in the city. At the end of that first replay with Jotti, there was a bit of, we shall call it spontaneous teamwork, and it worked out very, very nicely. There was one player saying, hey, I'm going to do this thing, and another player, you know, acknowledging that fact. This is going to be something more towards the opposite. This is going to be a totally disorganized group of people who just apparently don't know how to deal with one lone half-health TOG. They have artillery. They have a VK who's got his Top Gun, as we will see, and he's got 2 kills, so he knows how to shoot. But all the time that Omri was looking down at the cap circle and resetting and defending, was this VK coming up behind him, closing the distance? Well, to be fair, you don't want to get caught out in the open in front of a TOG, especially if he's got more health than you, because the rate of fire on that thing is pretty good. But we've now come down to this. 2 low health scouts, the VK who traded away a lot of his own health. Notice that even though Omri, I keep saying Omri, it's Omir, for goodness sake, bro. It's late, have I said it's late? It's late. Even though he is busy engaging these scouts, is the VK taking advantage of this? No. This is, I mean, the TOG is not fast, and okay, the artillery is missing, and it's not a high damage RT anyway. It's a bit like the Lefebvre from the last replay. It's a pop gun. It's 105mm pop gun, and it's only really going to hurt you if you're low tier with not a lot of hit points. This is the TOG. Even a penning hit is unlikely to outright kill Mr. Omir. I'm going to get it right from now on, I promise. But this VK basically is throwing the match away. The A20 should have run away. The VK could have been shooting Omir here in the back all day long, and instead was just kind of hiding behind a house. Wasn't even spotting for... Well, maybe he was spotting for artillery, but maybe he was just hoping that artillery would do the job for him. But it's not working out that way. 9 kills. 1 more kill and he's got a Pools medal. Oh, look at this VK. This guy is... Don't do that. If you've got a lone enemy and he is being distracted by allies, then for goodness sake, shoot him. Now that was a 238 damage hit. That short 88 gun does 220 average damage. So he must have had the short 88. He must have had the top gun. It's not that he was a stock tank. Maybe he was using a stock brain. I don't know. I have that problem sometimes. 10 kills. Pools medal. We're going to speed things up a bit here because watching the Tog drive all the way to the enemy cap at 1-to-1 speed would be slow because it's the Tog. And I suppose I could have taken the time to tell you a joke, but no, wait, I'm going to stop myself right there. I'm going to stop myself right there because I will get hate mail and I will wake up with, I don't know, something with a knife stabbed through it probably when I wake up in the morning from, you know, courtesy of Caption Guy, as I do most mornings, to be honest. So the chances are the M37, if he's feeling brave, he's probably hiding in a bush along the K line somewhere. There's a lot of cover there. He could be sitting, he could be spotting, especially if he's got a camo net or something. But no! Surprise! He's behind you! That's actually rather unwelcome. Now that shot just goes not even in the same postcode. The M37 decides to make a run for it. He could have tried to go for a draw, and to his credit, he's not trying to run away. He's actually coming towards Mr. Omir. However, Omir gets a hit, sets him on fire, so effectively a one-shot kill, and has won the match. We're going to skip over the normal look at the results screens and instead just focus on Omir 2's scores because they were very impressive. 3,123 damage. That just goes to show you the rate of fire in the Tog is like, he fired almost 40 shells and 2/3 of what he fired hit. Not all of them penned, but 24 penning shots out of 39 shells. That's not so bad. That was enough for 1,618 base XP. So obviously the damage was very impressive, but 11 kills. And he was alone at the end there. So along with the Pools medal and the obvious high caliber and the top gun, he also got a Kolobanov's medal, a steel wall, and a cool-headed. And I suspect the A20 helped him along to that cool-headed medal a bit with his inability to pen the ass of a Tog, but the gun on the A20 is not especially good. So that was a very impressive result, but as impressive as it is, the point of me putting this in here, and the reason why I've got 2 replays from the same person in the same video, is this is really a warm-up for the next replay. Because I want to pose a question here. Can we go one better? It's a pretty tall order, and we'll have to see if Irelandmann here can actually, you know, if he can get there, or if he just falls slightly short. 11 kills, remember. 11 kills is what we've got to beat. Now, Irelandmann has got a couple of things really going in his favour. For one thing, the matchmaking is superb. Top tier, in fact, very top tier. Most of the, both teams are tier 5 and below. And that means for this gun, he can do a lot of damage very quickly. Now, this is on a tier 6. Possibly, and he says himself he thinks maybe it's a little bit overpowered, this gun. I don't know, it's a bit derpy, as we see that. It is not a sniping gun by any means. You have to get more in people's faces with an SU-100 in a lot of circumstances. And you can kind of afford to sometimes. With matchmaking like this, when there's no enemy top tier heavies, when the top tier tank destroyers, apart from the 88, the enemy team does have an SU-100 as well, but if they are being shy, if they're being cautious, then this could go very well indeed. And in fact, we've got a KV-1S on our side. And it's an old style KV-1S. It's the 8.0 Well, this is an 8.11 replay, and I can't remember what patch the Kibble has changed, but anyway. That kill secure, by the way. 5 health, but hey, he's going to need the kills. 11 kills to beat, so we'll see. Panzer 3-4, no problem. And he's able to just sit there and aim, and nobody's actually shot at it yet. So that's quite nice when that happens. There's one of the enemy top tiers, just chilling at the back of the map. Now that was more of an aimed shot, and you get to see why this gun is not particularly great for sniping. It's not an accurate gun, it's a bit on the derpy side. Very nice for getting in people's faces, especially if you can get in their face and then pull back while you reload. But it's not a particularly good gun for these long range shots. And this is not especially long range. Anyway, he aims very carefully that time. The reticle is more or less totally on that enemy tank. 4 kills. Notice nobody else has killed anything yet. That's going to be a theme in this battle. And the side of an 88 with few enough hit points to be a one-shot. Yes, please. There's another kill. 5 kills. Anybody, you know, feel free to step in, kill something, you know. Don't feel you have to give Irelandmann all the kills. 6 kills. Okay. We've lost half of our own team, by the way. I mean, I don't know. Oh, a Hellcat has killed something. Oh, well, okay, well done there. Okay, well done. Yeah, one of the allied tanks has figured out that, you know, if you actually shoot stuff, that's useful. To be fair, some of them have been shooting things. 7 kills, by the way. So there were enough people doing damage that Irelandmann was able to get basically a whole bunch of one-shots in a row. And that's always nice. Matilda was just like... and the SU-100 had taken some damage, so okay, you know, that's another one-shot, why not? 8 kills, Radley Walters. But finally, somebody who's actually giving him a bit of a challenge. It's that almost a T-67. I'm conditioned now. I'm used to now thinking of it as the T-67, but this is back in ye olden days when it was a T-49. He's done some damage to Irelandmann, and you get to see that, yeah, the frontal armor on this thing's okay against lower tiers, but against same tiers, higher tiers, you might occasionally get bounces off the gun mantlet, but you can't really rely on it. Anyway, the T-49 was using cover very well, was peeking out and getting shots off, but Irelandmann says there's an opportunity. 11 kills, so we have tied. And we've actually had somebody else that's managed to kill as well, so... Although he's, you know, he's done the vast majority of the killing in this game, at least 2 other people have managed to shoot some stuff, which is, you know, nice. Irelandmann, meanwhile, you know, we're only just approaching the 5-minute mark, and he's already got 11 kills. There's going to be no chance of a Kolobanovs in this one. 12 kills. But even so, this is ridiculous. Well, if we can get this Wolverine, it's going to be 13. But it's actually kind of disappointing that 2 of his teammates have killed things. And doesn't quite fully aim, goes in the tracks. That's this gun. You just, yeah. But, yeah. He could have been in with a shot at 14 kills. Gets the Wolverine, and it's very nice, but 14 kills. That's a Ryzenai Heroes medal. You never see those. Those are incredibly rare. But even so, this was a really nice result, and in less than 6 minutes. 13 kills in less than 6 minutes, and that's how you do it, apparently. So that was, unsurprisingly, an ace mastery, because, you know, with a result like that, you'd be kind of miffed if it wasn't. Pools medal, of course. Defender, which is rather nice on top of everything else. High caliber, and a top gun. Look at that kill list. That's ridiculous. That's just silly, Irelandmann. You're just being silly. Stop it. 2,800 damage, 13 kills, 1,504 base XP, over twice what the next best person did. Exactly the same with Omir 2 and Jotti. I think I had over twice the XP. But in this case, it was all done in 5 minutes and 16 seconds. Yeah, you're just showing off, Irelandmann, at this point. You really are. So, that was a very entertaining game to watch, and you can see why I hope that I put that TOG replay in before it. If you enjoyed this replay, if you enjoyed any of these replays, I hope you enjoyed all of them in fact, you can do all the usual things. You can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below, you can subscribe to my channel, and as always, stay tuned for more.